Welcome students. Welcome to the next class of Strength of Materials 1. In the previous class, we have discussed a bar which is having various cross sections, and for that varying cross sections, we have applied some axial load. Okay. Now, we are going into the concept of principle of superposition. Okay. So, what is the concept behind principle of superposition? First, we will see the theorem or the principle stated here. Then we will discuss it there. Read this. When the number of forces acting on a body, when a number of forces, so many number of forces acting on a body, the resultant strain is the algebraic sum of all the strains, So, the resultant strain is the algebraic sum of all the strains caused by individual loads. So, when we are applying many number of loads, so many number of loads are acting on a single body, not like the previous condition, a single load. Here, we are having so many loads at different points. Okay, a bar member is having different loads. Okay, now that different loads are acting. And what will they produce? They will produce different stresses and strains, right? Now, the resultant strain. Okay, resultant strain is nothing but final strain of the body. The resultant strain is the algebraic sum of all the strains caused by individual loads. So, this condition we will get when we are solving the problem. So, when we need to calculate the resultant strain, so resultant means after completing all the things, what is the output? That is, okay, that strain is calculated from the algebraic sum. Algebraic sum means when it is having a negative sign, with that negative sign as it is, we need to sum up. Okay, algebraic sum. Generally, we will write summation of, but when we say particularly algebraic sum means when we are having some minus 2, 3, minus 5 or 4. We need to sum up all these, add all these values along with the signs. Okay. So, minus 2 plus 3 plus minus 5 and plus 4. So, algebraic sum means giving the priority to the indication of the sign which is present to that particular strain value. So, algebraic sum of the particular strains is the resultant strain. Okay, how we will calculate the resultant strain? We don't know now. For that we are having some steps. Then the principle of superposition, as per the principle of superposition, what it is stating? When any elastic body is subjected to number of direct loads. Direct load is nothing but tension or compression. Axial loads or normal loads or direct loads. These are the common names for tension and compression indication. So, these are acting along the axis. That's why we call them as axial load. These are acting normal to the area of cross section. That's why we call them as normal loads. These are acting directly onto these bodies. So, they are called as direct loads. Okay. Now, as per the principle of superposition, when an elastic body is subjected to number of direct loads, either tensile or compressive. Okay. Either tensile or compressive at different section. These tensile or compressive loads are acting on the body at different sections. So, one body is there here. Okay, here I am applying some tensile load. Maybe at some other point we are connecting. We are applying some compressive load. Maybe at some point we are tying a knot and making it tighter. Maybe like this. Or at the end we are applying some compressive force. Okay. So, as per the principle of superposition, then an elastic body is subjected to the number of direct loads, either compressive or tensile. Okay, either compressive or tensile. The direct loads at different sections along the length of the body. This is the length direction only, right? Along the length of the body, we are applying different loads. Okay. Now, the free body diagram of individual section has to be drawn. What is the free body diagram? As in your engineering mechanics, we have already learned about the concept of free body diagram. Removing all the surrounding bodies and connections, we only indicate forces in that particular direction, right? So, up to this section, I can observe a segment. It is having certain load, and okay, I am writing the free body diagram of this part. And then for the next part, maybe some compressive or tensile or anything. That is the free body diagram of that body. And in the last, it is having some other forces. So, in this way, we need to generate the free body diagram, separating it from the nearby connections. Okay. So, separating this body at that particular section, we need to generate the free body diagram of that particular section. Okay, free body diagram of the particular section, and then deformation of each section will be calculated. The deformation of each section we will calculate. Deformation is nothing but increase in the length or decrease in the length. When we know the body's dimension, nothing but length and area, and we know the Young's modulus of the material, and we know the load acting on the body, can we calculate delta L? Yes, we can calculate, because that delta L is equal to applied load P into length of the member L divided by area of cross section into Young's modulus. So, deformation of the each section. For this section delta L, for this section delta L, for this section delta L. Likewise, individual section change in the length will be calculated. And then total deformation is equal to algebraic sum of deformation of all individual sections. The total deformation is equal to the algebraic sum of deformations of individual sections. So, this is having some increase in the length, decrease in the length. This is having some increase in the length. This is having some decrease in the length. So, if this is negative, that a particular negative, plus if this is having positive, that increase, this is having negative, so minus L2. So, with these signs, we need to sum up all the strains or deformation. Deformation is directly change in the length. So, the total deformation is equal to algebraic sum of deformation of all individual sections. Right? So, that is the concept behind principle of superposition. When we are applying different direct loads on a body at different sections, if we calculate the strains of each section separately, if we calculate the strain of each section by separating them into free bodies, firstly we are separating them into free bodies, and then we are calculating the deformation, and then we are giving the deformation as algebraic sum. So, overall deformation is equal to individual algebraic sum of the forcible deformations. Right? Next, see the problem for principle of superposition. A member ABCD is subjected to point loads as shown in the figure. Calculate the force P2 necessary for equilibrium condition, and P1 is equal to some 45 kN, P3 450 kN, and P4 130 kN. Now determine the total elongation of the member, assuming capital E Young's modulus is equal to 2.1 into 10⁵ Newton per mm square. So, in the problem, they are showing some ABCD figure, and that too it is having different loads at different sections. Okay, and the corresponding values also they have given. P1 P3 and P4. But P2 is there that they have not given. For calculating P2, we need to use equilibrium condition. Okay. And then after calculating P2 from the equilibrium, and then we need to find the total elongation of the member. And they have given Young's modulus, length of each segment, area of cross section for the each segment, right? So this is having some rectangular or circular, we don't know, just they have given the area. It may be rectangular with some B by D, that is not our problem, only they are giving area. If they have given diameter, then we will convert the diameter into area when we use. They are directly giving the area, so no problem. We are having different sections and different loadings at different points. Initially, we are having bodies with different areas, right? But the load acting is same throughout every section. The load acting is same. If we observe here also P, if you observe here also P, the load is same throughout the section. But here at different sections we are observing different axial loads, nothing but the tensile or compressive loads. Okay. Now, how we will solve? First thing, they are asking us to calculate P2 value. P2 is nothing but the axial load which is occurring at some point. That P2 will be calculated from, how will be calculated? Calculate the necessary force P2 using equilibrium condition. What is equilibrium condition? So, when we say any body is in equilibrium, if we are applying some compressive force or downward force on the body, okay, but that is having some reversal upward force. If that downward force is equal to that upward force, the body will be in that equilibrium only, because I can't move down because the sufficient moving up is coming to me. So the body is in vertical equilibrium. If we are moving the body to that position or in the horizontal manner we are moving, but in resistance to that we are having some opposite force to stop the body to not move. So in that condition the body is in horizontal equilibrium. Similarly, if the forces which are trying the body to pull this direction is equal to which are trying to pull the body in this direction, the summation of all the forces coming from left to right is equal to summation of all the forces coming from right to left. So that is our equilibrium condition. From the condition of equilibrium, what we can write? Summation of all the forces coming from this way is equal to summation of all the forces coming in this way. So here we are having two forces, P1 coming in this direction and P3 also coming in this direction. So P1, P3 are in one way. So P1 plus P3, one direction, is equal to P2 plus P4. So next direction, P2 plus P4. P1 plus P3 is equal to P2 plus P4. And in the problem they have given three force values. Here they have mentioned the body is in equilibrium. That's why using that condition we are calculating P2. Okay. So P1 45, P3 450 kilonewtons and P4 130 kilonewtons they have given. Using that I am calculating the axial load P2 at the section 2. Now, as per the principle of superposition, for calculating the final deformation of the body or for calculating the total extension or total deformation of the body, firstly we need to generate free bodies of each section, and then we need to calculate deformation of each section, and then we need to add up all the deformations for getting the algebraic sum of the deformation, which is equal to the overall or final deformation of the body. Okay. So for that I am separating the first segment. See here, this is the AB body. Firstly I am taking out. When we are taking out, the value P1 is here. That same P1 value, because it is not having any connection. So this is the final end. the value P1 will be simply acting on the right side of AB. See, for AB segment, A and B segment of length and area of cross section, that P1 is equal to 45 kilonewton, that is purely without any disturbance. This P1 is acting in this way. So, firstly, I have indicated that when one value of tensile is like this, that body in the opposite direction also will have the same tensile force of 45 kilonewton in that direction. So, indication of that 45 kilonewton. Now, this body is ready. See here, I am having a area with 625 mm square and length of the body 120 centimeter, nothing but 1200 mm, and it is having certain Young's modulus which is given in the problem, and it is being subjected to a tensile load of 45 kilonewton. Why I have given 45 in that way? Because in the normal condition I have seen 45 at this end. So simultaneously, for this maintenance of equilibrium, the other end of that particular section will have the same value and same nature. This is producing tension. So the other end is also will give the tension like this. So tensile load, tensile load. Now the change in the length, as it is the tensile load, what will be the change? That will give increase in the length. Okay. So that increase in the length, delta L1 is equal to P1 load and L1. If you don't want to write P1, no need, only for the formula I am writing. Okay. Some load into length by area into Young's modulus. So on this body, what is the force acting? 45 kilonewtons. What is the length of the body? 120 centimeters, and it is converted into millimeter. What is the area of cross section? 625 mm square. What is the Young's modulus in the problem? 2.1 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. Substituting all the values, we have got some increase in the length due to the application of 45 kilonewton tensile load on AB segment, that is equal to 0.4114 mm. So this is involved, this is increase in the length, because this will give the clarity where we need to give algebraic sum. Okay. Finally, we need to write algebraic sum of all the components. That's why I am writing, as the load is tensile on the body, the corresponding change in length is increase in the length. Okay. And the next, I am taking the last body. Why I am not taking the center one? Now later you can come to know, because that is somewhat complicated to take the force. And when we observe this CD portion, okay, when we observe the CD portion, here also this directional force is fixed. Okay, this direction I am having P4 with a value of 130 kilonewton. CD segment tensile load P4, that is 130 kilonewton. So similarly, on the opposite side of CD also will be 130 kilonewtons only. So I am writing the free body diagram for CD. So CD segment, length of CD segment, area of cross section of CD segment, and load on each side. As we said that D corner is having certain load, the other end will have the same tensile load. So this condition is okay. Now from this, change in the length is equal to applied load into length of the segment by area of cross section and Young's modulus of the material. P3 L3 divided by P3 L3 A3 and Young's modulus. 130 kilonewton, 900 mm, 1250 mm square area, 2.1 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square Young's modulus. Now we got some change in the length. See here, as this segment is also having a tensile load on both sides, what is the output? The output is increase in the length. That is a tensile, so the output is increase in length. Now we are going to the middle segment. See, when we are having a body, Okay, and it is having some other bodies in this way. Here we are having 45 kilonewton. Here we are having 130 kilonewton. And in the problem, they have given 365 from the calculation. We have got this, and 450 kilonewton in the problem. They have given that, right? So, these are the load values. Now, I am taking the first segment out. Only 45 kilonewton I have taken out. This way 45. In between, we are having some segment that we don't know. And in the last, we have got 130 kilonewton, 130 kilonewton on both sides. Now, what is happening at this point? What is the net force, whether it is a tensile or compressive, how it is acting? Now, see the original picture. In the original picture, we are having a force in this direction, that too it is 365 or some value. Okay, so this 365 is acting in this direction in the body. Now, this is the value. But I have already given 45 kilonewtons here. So what is the net force acting here? 320 kilonewtons. Observe clearly. Firstly, I have separated the free body diagram for the first segment. It itself is having 45 kilonewton in this way. But in the actual figure, at this section, I am having a load of 365 in this direction. In this 365 of this arrow, some portion has already here. So, the remaining arrow value will be at this section. That value I got 320 kilonewton. So, from the basic conditions, what we have said, this will be also equal to 320. That will be also equal to 320. And we can check this 320 is correct or not with the top answer. How we can check? Using these two, I should have to get the force at this point in that direction. Okay. Here I am having 450 kilonewton in that direction, right? So, here I am having 320 in this direction plus 130 in this direction. Finally, I am getting 450 in this direction. So, this is also satisfied. How I am getting? Firstly, I have separated the free body diagram for first section. Using that condition, I need to complete for the second segment. So, for this second segment, 320. Why this 320? For getting the actual load applied on the body. Some of the part is already there in that direction. In the same direction, we have left some value. That value will be stayed here. For the checking, we are using the next direction. Here we are having 130 in this direction and this is 450. So, this 320 in the same direction is occurring here. So, this is the generation of free body. This is generation of free bodies. Right? Go into the condition. Now, the next segment, BC is having compressive force. But what is this value? How we will get? See here. In the actual body, load P2 is equal to 365 kilonewtons. Now, the net force acting on BC, as the first body is already taking 45, but P2 is equal to 365, the remaining in this direction will be 320. The total in this direction is 365, but our first segment is already taking 45. The remaining 320 will be acting on this body. So, for BC, delta L2 is equal to, this P2 is for formula only, not the value of P2. Okay, on that particular segment, what is the compressive force acting? So, this 320 kilonewton, 600 length, 600 mm length, see there, 2500 area, and Young's modulus, which is equal to 0.3675. 0.3675. Okay, but here you can observe some difference. This is decrease in the length. Why that is decrease in the length? Because the first segment is having 45 kilonewton tensile. Third segment is having 130 kilonewton tensile. But our second segment is having 320 kilonewton compressive. Okay, so 320 kilonewton compressive load is acting. That's why it will cause decrease in the length. So the overall change in the length, the total change in the length is equal to positive L1 because that is increase in the length only. Negative delta L2 because that is decrease in the length, and then plus L3 that is increase in the length. The overall summation, see here, as the body is subjected to 320 kilonewton compressive load, increase in the length is not happening, decrease in the length is happening. So the answer is 0.4914 millimeters, right? So until this we will conclude the topic. So what is today's session? The concept of principle of superposition. What is principle of superposition is saying? When any elastic body is being subjected to number of forces at different sections, number of direct forces at different sections. Now, for solving this, solving is nothing but calculating delta L. We need to calculate deformation of each segment. We need to calculate deformation of each segment. How we will calculate deformation? By separating each segment into free body, and then we will calculate change in length, and then we will give whether it is increase or it is decrease. Finally, we will write the algebraic sum of change in the length. If it is positive, we will write increase. If it is compressive, we will write negative. In this way, we can get the total change in the length when the body is having different loads at different sections of the body. Right? In the next class, we will go into next concept. Thank you.